Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Disasym by Album Surfboards. So the Disasym I've been riding is a 5A and it comes in exactly 30.5 litres. So the Disasym is obviously not your conventional looking shortboard, as you can see by the outline. It's an asymmetrical board. And this Disasym really kind of, this board took my attention because some people might recognise it. It's actually the board that Dane Reynolds was riding in the Stabs electric acid board test. So I was watching that and it was really cool to see Dane surf on some alternate kind of surf equipment because he's normally riding kind of pointy nose performance shortboards. And this thing really took my liking. So I got in touch with Matt Parker, the shaper from Album, and I was really keen to check it out. So here we are today with, except for the tint, which is a little bit different, but the identical size and dimensions of the one Dane had. So Disasym is a performance offering from Album. I think they do a few different asyms. So it has quite a lot of rocker. Actually, it's unlike a lot of boards. I can only think of one other board I've ridden like this, which is probably the Proton by Almeric, where I can actually feel the rocker between my feet when I'm surfing. So there's quite a bit of curve in the board. I don't know if you can see it because it's actually a short little offering, but definitely surfing, I feel like you can feel the points of rocker in your feet. Flipping over the board, it has some just really light, really gentle concaves. It feels like there's maybe just a really gentle single that comes in through a double, just through the fins. And it actually feels like it stops before the tail ends, and it actually feels like it's flat out the exit, which is pretty unique. So if people are unfamiliar with asymmetrical surfboards, I definitely was until I got one recently. So this is my second one. The whole kind of principle of it is, obviously you don't really need the nose area when you're surfing. And what you have is you have a longer effective edge on your toe side, and you have a shorter effective edge on your heel. And then when you flip over, you have a twin, which is generally under your toe, and then you have a quad set, which is under your heels. So I'm not going to go too much into the tech stuff for that because I don't want to get lost or get anything incorrect, but I must say from a surfing experience, it feels absolutely mental. I must say though, I was a little bit skeptical about it first until I tried one, but I must say I was kind of sold because I love the feeling of riding a twin fin, especially on a bottom turn. If you have a nice board with a bit of pace under it and some solid fins that have a lot of hold, it just feels really, really free. So this is like a performance shortboard, but you still get that twin fin feeling under your foot for that bottom turn, which just feels really fast and there's no drag. And then when you get a section or a pocket or whatever, and you just want to kind of jam a wrap, I don't think anything feels better than putting that on a quad. If you get a wrap where you kind of come into a turn and just do this wrap, quads kind of hold, I feel, on your heel like you're on like train tracks almost, like you're on a track and you could just do no wrong. So I must say the thing that kind of sold me on the asymmetrical design was those two feelings that I really enjoyed of that twin fin under your toe and the quad under your heel, which has been really amazing. So it was really cool to see Dane surf this. He's surfing on some right-hand point breaks in Mexico. It's pumping and it's Dane Reynolds, who's most people's favorite surfer. But I wanted to see what's it going to go like for someone of fairly average surfing ability in kind of average waves that we surfed. And I was pretty surprised. For a board that has a lot of rocker and a really unique design, it's fairly user-friendly. It has quite a large kind of sweet spot. And I was reading in some stuff, and one of the other principles around the design is, and I see it as well, a lot of my boards, I end up with pressure dents in front of the tail pad. So the idea is that when your foot's kind of in the right position to get speed in that, which is just, sometimes you end up pulling it up in front, you generally have to move it back for control to do a turn. But the principle around the idea is that your foot's kind of always in the right spot. So your foot can sit here, you're in the right spot to accelerate and get speed, but then you're also in the right spot to turn. You don't have to move your foot around. And some people might be lucky where their foot's always in the perfect spot, but I definitely see a lot of my boards, I'm hammered with like little pressure dents up here, and then I have to move my foot back to turn. And saying that, there's a lot of foam that kind of distributes through the board, and there's quite a really like generous amount of foam and quite a full rail under your chest. So paddling into waves was really, really easy. I mean, if you get a section on the Disasym, you could really let loose. And I definitely felt like I did some of my best surfing. Not a great surfer, but I did some of my best surfing on this board and I really enjoyed it. With the fins in this board, it was quite interesting. I was actually able to get a hands on True Aims, who's kind of a bespoke fin maker from the US, do an actual asym set, which I think is for another asym that Album do called the Fascination. But what it is an upright twin fin, so not a keel twin, it's an upright twin, which I think is really similar to an MR by FCS. And the quad set here is the Tyler Warren quad set. So this felt really good, probably for about 95% of the surfs I had, but I actually felt, while the twin felt quite good, sometimes the quads felt a little bit loose and I could feel them jumping out of the water a little bit. I also surfed, if you're unable to get your hands on the True Aim quad set, Futures do a twin called the T1, and mixing that with the EA quads by Futures, that was a really nice kind of asym set, which is generally available to anyone. And speaking to a few different shapers and people that ride asyms, they said that's kind of a tried and tested asym set that really works for most people. The volume on the Disasym felt spot on. I generally ride around 29.5 to 30 litres in my surfboards, and this has just got a tad bit more and kind of no wasted space through the nose, and it felt really nice. A lot of foam under the chest that made surfing really, paddling into waves and whatever really easy, and definitely a lot of foam on my back foot. I never felt like the board struggled and whatnot, which was quite surprising for a board that actually has quite a bit of rocker. It never felt like it didn't have float or drive or moving forward, and it always had a lot of speed. Overall, I'd say the Disasym is probably for an intermediate through to an advanced surfer. I think for a beginner surfer, some of the design characteristics of this would probably be lost with that lack of experience. But someone with more experience and really understands surfboards, personally having grown up riding thrusters and performance shortboards, this feels really unique. And sometimes I need something a little bit different to get me in the water and get me excited, and this has been it. Overall, I've absolutely loved surfing the Disasym and hopefully get a chance to check one out. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. If you like what you saw, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could hit like. If you want to see more of what we're doing, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could subscribe. Beyond what we're doing here on YouTube, we also have an Instagram account, which we're keeping pretty active with. You'll find it on Instagram at the Surfboard Guide. And on there we'll be posting stuff about boards we have, immediate stuff about our experiences with them. You'll also have a chance to maybe connect with other people that have an experience with board that you may be interested in. Thanks so much for watching.